General Manager Monti Ossenfort jumped on our local radio station today to provide a very good interview pertaining to what the Arizona Cardinals might do here in this year's free agency class, as well as how he actually feels about generational talent Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. Right now we are in the beginning stages of trying to ramp up more content coming your way. We got the combine coming probably in less than a week. We also got free agency coming in mid-March, and then obviously getting ramped up for the NFL draft. So super excited. Today we're going to be diving into the latest comments on what Monti Ossenfort, general manager of the Arizona Cardinals, had to say about the 2024 offseason. Alright, but let's go and dive right into it. Let's go ahead and give a huge shout out here to 98.7 Arizona Sports for providing this great interview from General Manager Monti Ossenfort of the Arizona Cardinals. Basically, overall, huge interview. It's a part of their Newsmakers Week that's happening all week long, so shout out to them. But let's get started here, everybody. Let's talk about big takeaways that I took away from the comments that Monti Ossenfort had to, say. Now, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, we've been hearing a lot of, interviews from Monti, and I'm really liking what I'm hearing from Monti Ossenfort, but this is basically where all the words is going to be put into actions here, right? Now, we can say all the great things, but in the bottom line is you got to pick that guy that's going to be generational for you in the draft, especially if you're picking number 4, or those free agency pickups as well. So a couple things I want to obviously dive into is we got free agency first, and then we got the NFL draft, or actually the combined free agency and then the draft. So Monti Ossenfort ended up coming out here and talking about what the plan is for free agency. Let's go and dive into it.
Right. And so we are going to take our chances, and there will be times where we find ways to supplement our roster. But ultimately, we're going to build this team, and what we're going to be moving forward, we're going to build this thing through the draft.
I honestly think it's a huge breath of fresh air to hear your general manager saying that we want to build within the draft. And this is definitely something that we've been talking about for years since we've been doing this podcast here on YouTube pertaining to the Arizona Cardinals. If they're looking for consistency, you got to make sure that you're hitting on these rookies because there's so many benefits to it, right? You're dealing with a situation where you're getting these rookies on a rookie deal, and if they're dogs and they're staple points of your organization moving forward, then obviously you are going to pay them to, if that's exactly the plan that you're trying to go for. But the consistency is you got to build in the draft, and it's definitely a breath of fresh air to hear your general manager say that. Now, honestly, I think there are some good things to say about picking up those free agents as well, because you can get those 1 or 2 pieces out there that can really solidify that locker room with veteran presence, or just having somebody that's going to really kind of change the just the way your defense plays overall, just kind of like a Kazir White. Bringing him in this last year really kind of upped the physicality for the Arizona Cardinals defense. This is definitely something that I'm really excited about moving forward. So I'm glad that he said that free agency is going to be a spot where we're going to be active in, but it's not going to be something that we're going to be putting our full effort in, right? And honestly, I'm happy about that. We need to focus on in the draft because that is where you get your deals more than anything, right? Getting a dog out there, but you're also getting him on a rookie deal. And if you're looking for longevity and consistency throughout the years, that's what you need to do. I'm tired of the days where the Cardinals are good for 2 years and then we rebuild for 5 years, right? And that is something because we were never good at drafting just to begin with. So taking some swings in free agency and being active, but also building within the draft is obviously key. Now, a couple different things that I want to talk about here is I would love the Arizona Cardinals to focus in free agency on the defensive side of the ball, whether it's going to be a cornerback or somewhere in that defensive line. I believe right now the Arizona Cardinals are top 10 in the amount of cap that we have heading into 2024, but I'm not looking for the Arizona Cardinals to be spending all that money in free agency, right? Get 1 or 2, 3 solid pieces that we can, have as a staple point and automatically make your position group better with those guys, and then obviously build from the draft, and that's exactly something that I'm really excited about. Now let's go and dive into exactly what Monti Ossenfort had to say about these 3 great wide receivers coming into this year's 2024 draft.
All 3 of those guys are very talented players, and I think, we're sitting there at 4. obviously it's not that we don't like being at 4, right? We don't want to be at 4 again. And unfortunately, we're at 4 this year, but that also provides opportunities, right? And so, we're going to sit there and we're going to, whether it's a wide receiver, who those 3 guys that you mentioned are all 3 very talented players, there's no question. We look at every position in the draft, and we're going to, we're in the middle of that process right now, and we'll get more time to spend with those guys and all the players at the combine next week. I'm really excited for that week. But what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate the entirety of the draft, and we're going to make the best decision when it comes to that pick, whether that's, I think we showed last year, our propensity is to, when that phone rings, we're going to listen. And so we're going to have an opportunity to sit there and pick who we deem to be the worthy of the 4th pick, or, we're going to, and if the phone rings and somebody's got an offer for us to move up, to move back, like those are all things that we're going to consider.
Obviously, as you can tell, Monti Ossenfort is very, very intelligent in the way that he, kind of gives his answers, and the way he likes to think about building a roster is exactly what I can definitely get behind. Now, obviously, the picks need to be something where I can get behind, but the philosophy of what he's saying, it all makes sense, right? It's exactly how you should be building up a roster, and that is within the draft. Now, I'm glad that he had acknowledged that there's 3 great wide receivers that can potentially be picked up in the top 10. Now, I know there's some people out there that really either want, Rome Odunze, we decided to trade back. They want, Marvin Harrison Jr. Hopefully he stays at 4 or he falls at 4. And then we got Malik Neighbors as well, which kind of seems to be the wild card. But honestly, I think right now we're kind of in a stance where the Cardinals can go any which way, and we can obviously really benefit from having that young player coming in. Now, obviously, they got to hit, right? They got to be an automatically bona fide starter, just like A. Paris Johnson Jr. But right now, we're kind of in a situation where I think anything's on the table. Right now, we talked about this before when we ended up having that exclusive event that ended up attending. We ended up hearing from JG as well as Monti Ossenfort. He definitely made it seem like anything's on the table, right? And exactly how he explained it in this last portion here, pertaining to anything's on the table, right? Whether it's going to be a team calling up to trade up or trade down. If anything sounds good, Monti will probably take that offer or at least listen in that sense. So I think we're all kind of in the same boat. If Marvin falls to 4, I don't think there's fans out there that truly want the Cardinals to trade back if he does fall to 4. Honestly, I think right now with where we are at right now as an organization / team / roster, the Arizona Cardinals should have anything on the table, right? If something sounds good, obviously trade back. If something sounds great, maybe trade up. It's going to be one of those things that's exactly how Monti Ossenfort actually did it on the 2023 draft, where he traded back to trade back up. I think that's kind of on the table as well for Monti and the Arizona Cardinals. So we acknowledge that the holes are galore. He's acknowledged that those wide receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze are very, very good players. But he also emphasized the fact that he's really excited about the combine to really get to know these players, right? Because you could turn on the film, you can know that these guys are ballers and they know how to play football. But something that he's really looking out for is the person themselves, right? Making sure that they are going to be team first and not themselves first. And I think that's kind of what he's looking for moving forward, right? He's trying to make sure that there's going to be a great example in the locker room for years to come. And I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a guy that definitely fits that mold, especially because his dad is a Hall of Famer for the NFL in Marvin Harrison. So I'm excited about him. Now, we don't really know 100% about Malik Neighbors or about Rome Odunze, but with what we've seen in terms of highlight films, we know that they can play football, right? And I think that's exactly what Monti Ossenfort is basically emphasizing, the fact that we know that they can ball. It's just he's really excited about getting to know these players in a deeper level / personal level to really make sure that they are a good fit in this Arizona Cardinal locker room. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your guys' thoughts here about everything we covered today, about being active in free agency but building it within the draft, his thoughts on the top 3 wide receivers, and everything else we dived into today. Let me know here in the chat below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, have a great rest of your day and go Cards.